Hey guys, did you know that in DaVinci Resolve you could take an image, for example this one, and transfer the colors of this one onto the first one? So if I go here and set shot match to this clip, you can see that it kind of creates some sort of color grading. It's supposed to match this image, and it's like magic to me. I don't know how it works, but I was playing around in Blender Geometry Nodes and I took the same images and I tried to do something similar. Like I took this image and then I had this one as well, and I wanted to transfer the colors, so I did this, and I can see the difference. It goes from this to this, and that's all in Geometry Nodes. And you can see I can even swap this image for something else. So I don't know, let's pick this beach image, and you can see that it kind of works. And I can take. A lot of people told me that the tire color grading looks pretty nice, and I have to agree. I think it's pretty cool. And yeah, I can like do maybe a few more ones. I don't know, this one is pretty cool as well. And yeah, some people told me to try it with movie colors. I don't know, let's say this one. Well, I don't know, it's not like crazy good, but it kind of works, and I want to show you how I've done it. So let's go for it. So the first step is to have the image as geometry in Geometry Nodes. So I add a new Geometry Nodes modifier, and I made myself this node which turns any image into a grid. So I will take my render, and if you're just asking how I've done it, I will do it right here. So you take an image info and you plug in an image, and then you also take an image texture. So you have your texture and your informations. You plug the boss here, take this one for example, and then you make a grid. And then for the size, all you have to do is divide the width by the height and then put it here. So you can see that's the correct aspect ratio. And then for the vertices, what I did was taking the width and the height, so basically here. Then it's a lot of geometry. It's basically one face for each pixel of the image. So what you can do is do an integer mass and simply divide by maybe 2. And instead of just putting a random number here, you could do an integer. And then what you can do is take the UV map output of this grid and put it here into the image. And now if you look at here and just look at the image, it looks like that. And if you put to face, it looks more like pixel version. And then of course if you put the resolution to 1, it's going to be like the perfect resolution. But you will see that you have 5 million polygons, so it's perfect. If you're interested about the images grid, you can have access to it in my Patreon. I put all my node assets in here. So yeah, if you want to just have this one and a bunch of other ones, you can just subscribe to my Patreon. And also the blend file from this video will be on the Patreon as well. So if you want, there's a link in the description. So let's keep going. So it's just like taking the setup we've done before and just adding a store name attribute set to color, and I also set it to face, and I just say it's color, and it allows me to use this data anytime I want. So you can see that if I put a name attribute and set it to color and I preview it, I can see the image now. So let's go back to here. I will also add set material. Let's just go into the shader and put an attribute here and set it says color. So now if I go to master preview, I can preview the color of my image. Also, because we're dealing with colors directly, I recommend to set the view transform to standard, just so it's the real colors of the image. If there's no transformations on top of it. Okay, good. So now this is the image we want to mess with, and we want to have an image that we want to sample the color from. So I'll just take this fill G texture that I have, and I'll also put the material on it. And this is just like a texture for fields. Okay, so now what we want to do is take this image and we want to extract the red, the green and the blue into like some sort of data that we can manipulate and transfer into the new mesh. So what I did for that, I turned the mesh into points. So just you can just set mesh to points, and I can see I have a bunch of points. So basically I want these points to transform into some sort of curve that represents the red, the green and the blue values. Set position and use the index to just go into a linear motion. So if I just plug the index to the position, you can see that it kind of goes all the way to from V0 to 1, 1 on X and Y axis, and then it just repeats all the time. I want to constrain that just between X and Y, or X and Z, for example. So I will do X and Z. Actually, let's do X and Y. It will be easier to see. So I'll just combine X, Y, Z. So now it's only going on the X, and also I want it to go on the Y axis. Then I want to divide by some values so it is constrained between 0 and 1. So you can see the more I divide, the more the points are getting between 0 and 1. But the exact value that I want is the amount of points that I have, so the maximum index. So you just have to do a field minimum and maximum, and you put into integer. So just put this here, and then you put the maximum here. So now it's constrained between 0 and 1. But instead of having the index influence the y-axis, we just want it flat. I want to see how much red there is in the image. So we'll just have to use the color attribute. So just name attribute color. And then if I separate the color into red and green and blue values, you just put the red here. So now what you have is kind of the spectrogram, you know, like in DaVinci when you go into the color tab and you go here, you have some sort of strange values here. And that's essentially what we see here. What we want is to sort the values from 0 to 1. So it's kind of a curve, not just like random points. For that, we just have to sort the elements before and just use the red as well. So now you can see that the curve is kind of going like this. And now we can turn this into an actual curve. So you just do points to curve, and I can see it very well, but if I increase the opacity of the wireframe, you can see that the curve is showing. And what we want to do is just turn this into a group input and just repeat the same operation for green and blue as well. So just green and blue. So green and blue. And use the same points each time. Now what you've created is a curve for each values. So you can see that you have red, you have more green than red, and you don't have a lot of blue in here. And now that you have the curves, you can just sample the curve. Sample curve. So you can take this curve and take the red, green, and blue values of the images grid. You just say sample the curve from the amount of red that there is in this image. But what do you sample? The Y position that you can see. So if the red for this image is here, it's gonna just go all the way to the Y position of the curve. So you just take the position, you separate X, Y, Z, put the Y here, and now you make this into its old little node group and plug this here. And what we want to do is repeat this process for green and blue. You can just take this here and add a new one. So you just plug the green and the blue, and now you have the new values that are sampled from the curve of this image. And you can just change the color attributes, so you just have to store it another time. So you just set it to color and you type color, and then you can plug this here. So you just have to do a combine color, and you combine the red, the green, and the blue. And now let's do a simple giant geometry with this image. And now let's see how it looks in the matchup preview. Yeah, it kind of works. Let's just transform the geometry. Put this image on top. So yeah, so you can see it kind of works, but it doesn't work quite right. So it's just because in this node group, I forgot to plug the green and the blue. So just green and blue here. And now you can see that it works. But you can see that as well that it's way too saturated compared to this one. You just have to do the same thing, but because we've done only like the green, the red, and the blue, but it has like 0 saturation value. So what you can do is just do another one, duplicate it. Let's name this one be like curves to RGB. Then let's do another one, and let's do curves to HSV. You should only plug. You should do the same thing, but with obviously hue saturation value. So just do this, hue saturation and value. Just plug the new curves in here. And just make sure that in here you do the same thing. So you do HSV. Okay, perfect. But how do you, like, what's the combination like for combine colors? Should I just like combine HSV instead? So you can do this, but now it doesn't work at all. Oh yeah, it doesn't work simply because I did not plug the original mesh into this. So now you can see I have the curves, and now it should work. Oh well, it should be HSV as well. Now I can see it also kind of works, but it's not like the same as the RGB. So the way I do it is just use the color mix, and I can see that you have these hue, saturation, and color and value operations. So I'll just do this like for each like hue, saturation, and value, and I just plug this color in each socket. And of course put everything to 1, even though you can actually just control the slider to your likings. But I figured that if you put everything to 1, in most of the cases it looks pretty cool. And that's it. So that's how it works. That's how I did it. It may not be the most efficient version of this, but it kind of works. So now what you can do is just take this, like just combine everything into a new group. So let's just name this color stealer. And now you have this new node, and the stolen we can just, I don't know, take another one, maybe this one. And yeah, you can see it kind of works. So it's not perfect, it's not like crazily perfect. So if I go to, let's just say plate, run a movie frame. I don't know, this one is very famous, so let's just save it. I think it will look pretty weird. Let's just try. So you can see it really works, like the colors are getting copied and stuff, but it's not like usable anyway. It's really just like some fun in Geometry Nodes. So yeah, if you want to have fun with this, I put this file into my Patreon as well as all my assets, my Geometry Node assets. If you want to play with it, thank you for staying here. I hope you learned something with this video, and I just wish you a good one. Bye.